This conference will now be recorded.
So as informed that we'll start with the Power BI today, and the last whatever the left part on the SQL, I will cover it up day after tomorrow or something or tomorrow. Some of my SQL server is not behaving the way I want. Some disturbances there. Okay, I just realized in the morning itself, so I could not fix it. So let's continue with the Power BI and come back to the SQL for the last class. Hope that's fine, right?
Okay.
Okay, let's get started. Let me know if you are able to see my screen, right?
Mm. Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's start first of all. So first of all, we want to understand that what is the use of Power BI, what is Power BI, and how we can use it. Correct. So if I talked about on a first glance that what is Power BI, no, it is simple business intelligence tool. Okay. So, what do you mean by a business intelligence? So, the power is something the name given by the Microsoft. The BI is stands for the domain, which is nothing but your called the business intelligence. What is business intelligence? So, it means that suppose you have a data, okay? So, suppose any kind of data, just combine like any kind of data, look HR data, sales data, finance data, logistic data, any sets of data you have. On top of that, we can connect to the Power BI, and Power BI have the functionality to analyze more on that and come up with some business solutions. Okay, that helps the business to take some decisions. So that is the overview of a business intelligence tool. So what is the business intelligence tool? So the business intelligence tool will connect to that set of data, right? And top of that, they will apply some business rules depending upon the business cases and come up with some solutions. Okay. And that solution will help you, your to business to make some decisions. Correct? So this is about your business intelligence. Any questions on this? At least clear?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is about your business intelligence. So this is about the Power BI. Hmm. So the Power BI actually there are if I talked about as a Power BI, so there are two components to the Power BI. Okay, so the first component is called my Power BI desktop,
Okay, service.
and second one is my Power BI service, or you can say the Power BI server. Okay, so nowadays nobody is using the Power BI server because it is just like your on-prem something kind of stuff, whereas the Power BI service is more into client. Sorry, more into cloud. Okay, so this will be maintained by the Power BI people itself, Microsoft, and here and there few things we need to do. So, but most of the tasks we will perform in the Power BI desktop only, where we will develop your reports, we will connect to the data, analyze everything we will do. And after that, when you are collaborating, right? Suppose this is onto your system, and suppose you want to showcase to the business that this is the thing I have done, or this is your requirement, then they can't come to your system and open the Power BI desktop and see the results, right? Or whatever the file is generating by the Power BI desktop, I can give it them to saying that open this buddy, open this boss, and just see your reports. That is not possible. So there should be a medium where everybody can go there and based on the permission, authentication, authorization, whatever may be, they can just see the data or see the report, whatever you created. That area is called your Power BI service. So their Power BI service is on cloud and the server is on on-prem. So now no need to discuss about the server because Most of the companies will not use the server. Okay. So now this is now one part is coming to the Power BI is the licensing, like how the licensing works, right? So when you are installing the Power BI desktop, it is free. It is free. Nothing is required to pay any amount to use the Power BI desktop. Okay. I told you that this, you know that, right? Everybody, like how to install the Power BI desktop at least. From where you need to do that,
Yes, Samir.
you
Yes, we
know.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. What about Surbi, Sudha?
Yes.
Everybody, you know?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
So this is the way. So this is actually the Power BI desktop is a free things. Okay. The only thing is when you are publishing something. So we are collaborating to the Power BI service. So what are the things we have, and you want to put it back to the Power BI service. That time only the license is required. Otherwise, it is free. Okay. So if you see my screen, this is my Power BI desktop. Now in the front, in the name, my name is coming, right? Because I signed it. So for you, it is not required right now. So whenever you are opening your Power BI, if it is asking for a sign in, just cancel it and we can work with the Power BI desktop as a free. So once you've done it, then in the middle of something in the session, somewhere after 2, 3 classes, I will show you how to create a free account on the Power BI that is called the Microsoft account. How you can create it so that you can also collaborate with your Power BI service at least for certain times, at least 90 days or 6 months, whatever. I don't know the exact time. Maybe it's 90 days only. So that licensing I will show you how to get it. But right now it is pure things. It is free. Okay, it makes sense. So don't ask that it is asking sign in what I'll do. Just cancel it. It is not at all required any sign in for the Power BI desktop. I'm repeating one more time. Power BI desktop doesn't require any sign in to work. If it is asking, cancel it and work on that. Okay. Second thing, what the other licensing is required. Suppose these are, I just open it up very fast. I'm going. So there are certain visualizations you have in the pane, right? So there are, apart from this visualization, there are some other visualization which is there on the Power BI, which will come from the marketplace. What is marketplace? Marketplace is something like few developers from the Microsoft, right? So they will just create some reports which is not available default with the Power BI. So if you click on these three dots, right? So get more visuals. So this is your marketplace where we'll get n number of different other charts also. We'll discuss this how to use it, but this is the charts are available. So to use this also you need the license, otherwise the free account will not work. Okay, so these are the two areas where the Power BI desktop required a license to log in or license to sign. Make sense? Very much clear on this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now let's come to the there is some, let's focus on the Power BI desktop for more number of session, because end of that this is your requirement. Okay. So on the Power BI desktop, right? So actually there are multiple. So first of all, let me open the Excel. How I can correlate to the Power BI? Let's see. So actually, the Power BI is derived from, or I can say, customized from the Excel itself. Okay. So the Microsoft customized the Excel in such a way that that will looks good, feel good, and there should be a dedicated tool for the business use cases. So what they've done is that in the Excel there are three components are there. Okay, I'll show you. The first component is my Power Query. Second component is called the Power Pivot. Third component is my visualization. Okay. So if you open your Excel, right, in the data tab, right, this part, get and transform data. Okay. So if you are in your Excel, if you are not getting this option, then there could be two things. First of all, your Excel is not updated. Most probably, if you are on the 10, Windows 10 and Windows 11, most everybody is there, right? You will get this information. Can you just confirm, guys? You are getting this option, data, this part? Just open your Excel and just let me know.
Okay, sir.
Just to confirm. I'm just want a confirmation. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Getting it, right? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
getting it.
Getting it, right? Okay. So this is the data. So this part is called your Power Query. And then it was there long back with Excel. It is the first introduction to the Power Query into the Excel only. So they introduced the Power Query into the Excel first. Okay. So if you click on this get data and you can choose some file, whatever maybe. Okay. And something like let's choose something. Let's see how things working. So let's take I choose one file. This I'll show you. I just want to showcase something. Don't take what I'm doing right now. I just want to show something. And if you click on this transform data, no, from the Excel itself only, something will open up. Okay, this is your Power Query. So this is my Excel file, and this is my Power Query. So whatever the Power Query is there on the Excel, the same Power Query is there in the Power BI as well. So there is no interface change at all. It's the same as this. Okay. Now they're also putting the green theme also. Prefers to that, Power BI was coming as a uh, yellow color theme. So all things are yellow just before December 2022. Now they put it everything back to green. So all will be green. Here will be green. If you click on the page, also the green theme will coming into picture. Okay. So this is one area is called my Power Query. Just describe. This is one component. Second component is called the Power Pivot. So this is also there with Excel. So this is coming the Power Pivot. So this is automatically will not come into your Excel. I think so. It is not there, right? Is there this component which I am showing you right now?
Power
It is there in
pivots.
the Excel. Is there
Mm,
any menu you are getting after the help or somewhere?
no.
No,
So,
right? Okay, but
no,
that
we
is not required. But yeah, but that is not required. But if you want to activate it, just click on the file.
mm,
Let me see. Um, and the options, the more and options. Then click on the add-ins. Then just there will be this will be there. Microsoft Power BI for pivot for Excel. Or you can just click on this manage and click on the comms add-ins. Then you will get something here, something like that. Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel, you are getting it there.
Samir, can you show us once again, please?
Oh, see. File. Here the more, right? Options. Or directly you will get the options. Click on the options. This interface is coming for you. Getting it. This is not the time.
Yes.
We'll not spend much time here. You're getting or not?
Yeah, I'm getting it. Okay.
Okay. Now click on the add-ins and just search for
Okay.
this. It will come up here only somewhere. Microsoft Power BI for Excel. Just launch it or add in what some options will be there. That's it.
Microsoft pivot for Excel.
Or just activate or something will become.
Okay.
Just do that. Okay.
I can't see my Microsoft Excel.
Hmm?
I can't see the Microsoft.
Power pivot
Power.
for Excel. It is not coming. It's not coming.
No, it's not coming.
Okay, that's fine. Then yours is not updated. It's fine. It's not an issue. It is there or not there doesn't make any sense here because we are not doing anything on Excel. All these features. Okay. Anyway, So that part, first part we discuss is called your Power Query, and second part is called the Power Pivot. So the Power Pivot is something like where you will create your the model, the data models, creating your calculations, the measures, everything, whatever the areas. So this is the second part of your Excel. First is your Power Query, second is called your Power Pivot, and the third part is the visualization. So here we have inserts, right? So there are some charts, some maps, the slicers, table, pivot table, everything is there, right? So this is the area is called your visualization. So what they did exactly now in the Excel, these are the three features are there. So they combined these all features. So they took Power Query, they took Power Pivot, okay, and they took the visualization, but in a broader sense. The whatever the visualization we have in Excel and whatever there in the Power BI, it's more, okay, and more and very versatile. So these three components and even the Pivot also little bit organized inside the Power BI. These three components actually they combined into this, and that name is called your Power BI. Okay, so this is the way the Power BI came into picture. Make sense? These are the three components which is there already there in the Excel. All right. So now same way if I go to my Power BI, so there are basic things are there. First of all, if you open up the report, okay, open up the Power BI desktop, right? So there are some components are there. So basically, if you see the first, it will be your title bar, the menu, and then some ribbons are there. This is called your toolbars. We'll slowly discuss on that part. So there are three areas are there here. Okay, first is your the report. Okay, report is nothing but the third layer of this one, the visualization, where you will create your report. These are the reports and these are the visualizations which is available. Okay, and some components we'll see. Then after that, next layer is called the data and third layer is called the model. So these two area, the data layer and the model layer, this is called your Power Pivot. This two area, which we are showing the data and creating your model, then creating your calculations, measures, whatever things you are doing. This is called your the Power Pivot. So this is Power Pivot. This is your visualization, which is called the report layer, and the data layer and your model layer is called your Power Pivot. And where is my Power Query? Power Query is there if you click on the transform data. Okay, if you click on the transform data from the home tab, then it will open up the Power Query for which is exactly the same whatever there in the Excel. So there will be two components to this. So the Power Query always opens parallelly to the Power BI desktop. So this is my Power BI desktop and this is your Power Query. If you see. And any changes you will do on the Power Query, then you need to load it into Power BI desktop. This is the way it works. Okay. So these are the components of a Power BI. Any questions here? Now we'll see what is the use of this. The first very important topic we need to go ahead with the Power Query because the Power Query is used for your data transformations. So you have some bad data or data is not formatted or data is not looking good. So I can't directly load the data and start putting up the report. Okay, that is one of the areas the analyst also will work on that very much to organize the data in such a manner that I can able to see or I can get some information out of that. Okay, so that is most important part. Got it? So let's get started with the Power Query today. So I have one. Let me close this and this is your Power BI desktop. Now, suppose I will share this file with you. Let's start to analyze the first project of the Power BI. So, I will take the module in this Power BI is something like on a project to project basis. Okay. So, we'll start to end. So, I will take one module. I will start with the sales data. Then I will start to end. I will transform data. then create the model, then on top of that, the visualization reports, everything done. First one. Then I will go to another module, then we'll start to finish, done. Like that, we will do around 3 to 4 projects we will do on the Power BI so that you can also get familiar how the Power BI real time works exactly. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's start with the first project, which is my project number one, which I always say, which is called the sales versus target. Sales versus the target. So what is the file we'll use? I have an Excel file for that right now, and we'll see how to use that. I'll share this file with you guys also to work on. So why Excel? Because Excel in the starting point it is quite good to understand in Excel file. But there are n number of connections. So now the Power BI is opened for you. The first step is very important to connect to the data from where I'm getting the data, right? So if you see this, if your home screen, there is one area called the data, this area. So there are a couple of options we have. One is the get data, there is Excel workbook, there is a data hub, SQL server, Dataverse, all these things are there, right? But if you want to connect to other data sources, just you need to click on the get data, and there are n number of options we have here. Okay. Now if we click on the more here, let's open up. Just give me a second. This will open up. Yeah. So we have n number of options you have. Okay. So if you can click on the file, then these are the files I can connect. Excel, text, JSON, folder, Parquet file, SharePoint, all these things. If you click on the database, choices are huge. I can create SQL Server, HANA, Snowflake, n number of choices. So whichever your data source is there, then from that we need to just connect the data first of all. Okay. So in this course tutorial module, I will show you how to connect to Excel. Then I will show you how to connect to the SQL Server as well. So that will be complete cycle. So after that, you will not have to face any issue whenever you are getting connecting to any file or connecting to any database. Okay. But in the first glance, let's start with the Excel. So for the Excel, directly they given one option directly here. Either you can click on this or you can click on the get data from here also you can choose. Or if you go to the more options, that come up and you can click in the fly and you can select from here. Either way is fine. But since these are the most used connections, no, some that's why they are giving some extra options. Now click on the Excel app workbook here. And I have two files here. So as we are targeting about the sales versus target, no? So the first file which I have is a sales report, and another file which I have is called the target. Okay. So now let's try to open up the sales report here. So just click on the sales report, open. Right. So on the left hand side, you will get whatever you have in the Excel file. So in the sales in the Excel file, you know, right? There could be sheet and there could be table. So there are two kinds of information we can have in Excel. So in this case, I have two sheets here. One is the data and one is the regions. Just click on that. It will just give you a preview. Okay, these are the data I have inside. We'll see how to handle all these things because so many information is null, everything is coming here. Okay, we'll see how to transform all these things. Now, second one, I will insert the regions. These are the two tables which I'm planning to insert here in this table, in this project. Okay. Now, I have two choices here. I have the load option and one is the transform data. These are the two options. If you load it, load when we will do the load exactly when you are sure that it is not required any kind of transformation. When suppose you are connecting to a database, suppose what we are creating in the SQL server right now, right, the tables, everything, you thought that there is not required any transformation, the data is clean, completely clean, then you can just select the table and just load the data. Okay, but I would suggest you that since think if you are still you are thinking that data is clean, just click on the transform data, open up the Power Query, see everything is all right there, then you load back to the Power BI desktop. So for me, actually, if I say this part, if I take my opinion, this option should be the first and the load should be the second. But don't know why they given the first option is load and second option is transform data. But that is not should not be the case. It should be transform data should be the first option. Okay, anyway, so I'm just doing what? I'm not clicking on the transform data and just clicking on the load. Simple. Okay, what will happen? We'll see. Now load. Let's click on the load. So something is happening. Data is loading. Okay, now data got loaded up. So the now if you see on the fields area, I have two tables. One is my data, second one is my regions. Okay. So this is called your the reporting layer, right? Which I told you. Now, if I go to my data tab, if I click on the data, I will see some information here. So this is just like your Excel sheet. So it is if you click on any tables, you will see some information about the table, complete picture of the table in a tabular format. This is called your the data. And if you click on the model, so this is your relationship model where you define your the relationship, joins, everything we will do it here. This is your modeling layer. But if you see the problem on the this data without the transforming, if you see, click on the date. So there are some columns which don't have any headings. It is coming like column 2, column 3, column 6, column 7, everything is coming. So this is what is this data? This is sales data, this is profit, or this is what? I don't know. So what I done, just I click on the load directly and just loaded the data. But I think that data needs to be cleaned up here. It is not clean now, right now. Correct? And if you click on the regions also, see the headings are coming in the second line, state and region. It should be the heading, right? This should be the heading here. All these things we should do in the Power Query itself. So now, once you loaded up, from where I will get my Power Query now? Because that time when you are selecting the table, there was one option was called transform data that will open up the Power Query. Now, suppose you loaded accidentally, you uploaded, and later you realize that I want to open up the Power Query. Then option would be click on the home anywhere you are there, whether you are on the report tab, home, transform data. Suppose you are on the data layer, home tab, transform data, or suppose you are in the modeling layer, same, home, transform data. So this option will be available across three layers. Okay. Now anywhere, just click on the transform data now. So it will open up the Power Query for you. Got it? Any questions up to now? I'm going very slow. Yeah. Any questions? Just let me know right away. No?
No question, sir.
Hmm?
No question, sir.
No questions? Okay. Good. Now, let me introduce something to the Power Query. What are the different components I have in the Power Query? Right? The first is the ribbons. So here, so much options I have through which I can transform the data. Okay. So I have home menu, transform menu, add columns, view, tools, help, everything is there. Okay. Now this part, this is the call your ribbons. And this part is left hand side is called your the queries or the queries in the sense what are the tables you have inserted as part of the data load. So those are the information it will show you. It can be n number. If you go to a real-time project, there will be more than 10, 15 tables or 20 tables will be there in this case. Okay, this side. This is the data. And if you click on certain table, no, this is your call the data preview. So here we will see the data preview. Everything will be the data. Just showcase. But normally it will show you only the 100 rows only. This is the Power Query limitation. So always it will show you the maximum to maximum 100 rows. Or it will not show you the all the rows of this. Okay. This you need to remember. Power Query always show the 1,000 rows. First 1,000 rows it will show you in the preview. Okay. Second, then another component is there. This is called your the properties. Properties in the sense the name of the file, everything. This is query settings. Most important part is this part, which is nothing but here called the applied steps. Applied steps in the sense what you are applying. So if you just we loaded something, right? I do something on this? Just what I called. I just select my Excel workbook, right? Then I just click on the open and I just click on the transform data. Apart from that, anything I had done as of now. Did I do anything else?
No.
No, sir.
No, right?
No.
But if you see the applied steps, there are 4 steps got applied automatically.
Yeah.
So it is first step is source, second step is navigation, third step is promote header, fourth step is change step. Something is happening.
Hmm.
So Power Query automatically took some steps, and whatever the steps we will apply, whether that is coming directly from the Power Query or you are customized, you are doing the steps. No, everything will be recorded here. Okay, everything be step by step, step by step, step by step will be get recorded, and there is no undo like Control Z or Control G or nothing is there in Power Query. Okay, so here let's try to understand that what are the steps it got applied when I talking about the source. Let's try to click on the source. Okay, let's click on the source. What is exactly it is doing? If you see, it is just connecting some functions are available. So Excel dot workbook some function, and it is connecting to my file where I kept my file, and it is just connecting to that file, which is called the source step. Right? Make sense? Don't go that what is the syntax because I'm not writing this code, right? Just I'm explaining that this steps is doing. Just go there to the respective folder and open up. Just connecting that. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you next step would be the navigation. What is navigation is doing? Let's see. Navigation is doing that from that sheet, it is taking the data. So there are 2 sheets are available. One is data, one is region. So it is taking data sheet here on the second step. Okay. These are the 2 steps always you will get in your Power Query when you load the data. And these 2 steps are something happened. I don't require because right now I don't want to confuse you. So I will just delete it. Simple. I'll just delete and I will just delete. Simple. So these are the 2 steps which is very much required when you loaded up the data. So one is the source, which is which file or which database, what are the connection details, everything we are connecting. And the navigation is something like where from the sheet or suppose you are connecting to a database, then which table or all this information will be available on the navigation. Alright, make sense? These are the 2 steps.
Yeah.
Any questions? No. Okay. And few things, if you click on the certain information, certain steps, right? Some part is coming on this part. This is called my formula bar. This is called your formula bar. So what is the formula? It is written behind the scene that will show you in the formula bar. So sometimes the formula bar always it will not show off in your case. If it is not showing, you just go to the view button and just click on the this one, the formula bar. If it is
Oh,
deactivated, no, it will not come up.
oh.
You just activate it. By default, it is not active. Okay.
Hmm.
Second, second thing is if you see the columns, no, after columns, there is one part is coming for me at least. There is a valid, error, empty, everything is coming. That is also will be not available if you not click on certain things. So this is an indication about your column that how your column quality is there. So whether everything is okay, or is there any empty records are there, or is there any error is in there in this column, everything will get it here as a percentage. So this is called your column quality. So this option is available on same on the view option. There is an option called the column quality. If you deactivate this one, this will goes out. So I would say these two option enable it, the column quality and the formula bar. This is good options. You should be doing that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now these are the two steps applied. Now if you click on any tables, right? And if we click on the home button, and there is an option called advanced editor. If you click on the advanced editor, right now we will not go through this, but if you click on the advanced editor, this is the underlying code which is getting written. I am not doing anything, but this is the underlying code which is getting written when you are doing something on the Power Query. Okay, and this language, the Power Query, the language which is getting written, that language is called M language. Okay, so this is called your M language, or I can say the MASAP language. M stand for the MASAP. Okay, so question would be whether we need to know the M language. Not exactly. We don't need to know this, but
Mhm.
few things we need to write. That time I explained you that how to write this language and all, but right now it is not required. But you need to understand that the Power Query, the underneath language is called the MASAP language, or we can say literally it is called the M language. Don't say the MASAP because in the industry it is going through the M code or the M language. Okay. So whatever you are doing inside your Power Query, everything will be get recorded, and that will become as a steps, and inside that whatever the formula or the syntax it is written, that language is called your M language. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Clear on this point? Okay.
Mhm.
Now these are the few components which is available now. Okay, so this is my ribbons, this is my menu, this is the query part, this is my preview based on the 1000 records, this is the properties. These are called the applied steps. Now another part which is always invisible in the Power Query, that is called the preview option. Preview means if you go to the source here, just go back to the source. So here if you see, there are in this my Excel file, there are two tables I have. One is sheet rather, I can say the data and my regions. But if you click on this data, no, nothing will happen. Just it will show you the name of this data. But if you click on the right hand side of this data, sorry, I'm not getting here. Okay, and let's go to the navigation, I think. Okay, let's see. Go to the navigation. I'm not getting this. Okay, sorry. Let's try to click on this table, hopefully. Yeah, if you see on the data option, no, this is called the preview window of your Power Query. This is very powerful, and nobody knows, almost like uh, everybody don't know about this. Like if you click on the right hand side of any tables, right, it will give you the complete data itself, just like a preview. Before doing anything, you can just see around this and you can play around this, and based on that you can write your own code as well. Okay, so this is called your the last component, which is called the preview. Okay, so this is the one. Let's see. Now the first thing first, I want, let's do that slowly. We'll create this model. We'll slowly we'll do multiple transformation, and slowly we'll do the completely model for my sales versus target. Let's start it. The first thing first, the name of this table, which is called the data. I don't want to data. I want this table needs to be called as sales. So basically, I'm just renaming the data set to sales in Power Query. Okay. So I have multiple choices here. Three options I have. The first option is I will select the table, and in the properties area, no, I can just directly type it here, the sales. Okay, this is the first option. Second option is just double click on this data and write it the sales. Okay, or right click on this table, click on the rename. Choice is yours where you want to rename. Okay, any way is fine. So I'm just double clicking on this and I'm renaming this as a sales. This is the first. Okay, and remember this is the only step. Okay, this is the only step, and sometimes if you another step will be the duplicate tables, all these things that will be not getting recorded into the Apple steps, because this is we are not doing inside the data of the table. This is just we are renaming the table itself, so that will not capture inside the Apple steps. Make sense? The first one clear? Any questions as of now?
Can you please just repeat this, sir? What we are doing? I just can't able to follow these things.
I'm just renaming the tables, nothing
Okay.
else. So that was previously the data.
Hmm.
Now it is I rename it the sales.
Sales.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now same I will do for the regions. I will say it will not regions, it will be region. Okay. These are the two steps I have done it. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now sometimes it is getting confused that suppose I rename the data, this table to sales. But do I have actually a sales kind of table in my Excel sheet? No. Actually, what was there previously? It is called data. I
Hmm.
just renamed that. Now, how I will get that? If I go to my Excel sheet, I will not get sales. But that we will get here. If you
Ah,
click on the source, this is my source file. And if you click on the navigation, then you will get the real name of the data. That is nothing but my data. This one I change it to sales. So this is your original table name, which is nothing but in this case the Excel sheet, which is called the data. Make sense?
we need to go to source, then.
And the second step, navigation steps. It will
Okay.
show you.
Oh.
Okay. So this is
Yeah.
the way. Alright. Now let's start some transformation in the sales. Let's see what exactly I was trying to do. So if you see some information here, the first one, two, three, four, five records, right? These are all are wasted records, which is just coming like this only, because in the Excel file there are some headings are there on the first table. So those are the headings are coming directly here, and actually my heading start at the fifth number row. Actually, this is actually the data, the order date, the due date, the ship date, the sales order number, whatever the data I have. Actually, it is started at the fifth number row. Correct? So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the four rows which is coming extra for me, which is I don't at all require. Okay. So I was just want to delete this. So if I go to the Excel file now, if this is an Excel file, what I'll do, I'll just right click on this and delete it, right? You remember in Excel have you done the rows deletion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So but here there is no use of that Excel. So you need to leave the Excel if you are using the Excel. That will not work out here. So we need to each and everything if you want to do, we need to do the with the transformations. Okay. So here and the names are very easy to catch Power Query. Okay. So what I need on the first four rows on the top, I want to just delete it. So if we go to the home tab, there is an option called remove rows. If you see this option, you're able to see this option, remove rows. If you click on the remove rows, then I have some options. Whether I want to remove from the top Whether I want to remove from bottom, alternate rows, duplicates, blank rows, errors, all these things. In our case, I want to remove from the top. How many top rows I want to remove? Can you tell me how many top rows I will remove?
Four.
4, right? So I will click on this remove top rows. Okay. Then I will give how many rows? I need to 4. Okay. Just carefully observe the applied step here. This transformation I am taking. I'm removing the top 4 rows. So if you click on the OK, that step will be getting recorded after the navigation. See, it is recorded, right? Removed top rows. Correct? This will always getting recorded step by step, whatever you applied. Now, if you want to just want to go to the previous step, suppose you accidentally deleting the 4. Just for example, suppose you were accidentally deleted 4 records. You want to do 3 records, or you want to just see the previous. Just like suppose in Notepad or in Word file, right? Suppose you delete something accidentally, and you want to come back. So what you will do? You will do the Control G only, right?
Control Z, yeah.
Yeah,
Next cell
Control
will
G
be.
to come back. Correct. Same way. So, but here there is no Control G. So the Control G is something like we can go back to the previous step. Just click on
Before
the
that step.
navigation. You can get the previous step here completely. This is quite good, I can say. Okay. And suppose
Mm.
you don't want these steps. Suppose you accidentally did it and you don't want this step. Just click on this delete, this button. It will be get deleted and you will go to the previous step itself. Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so but I remove the top 4 rows, and how there is every steps there is a button is there. There is a icon that is called always we call these names. Please remember because that will be helpful when you are working on a real project. Okay, first I told you the M code, M language, and this button because when you are working on a like no suppose you are working on a project your seniors tell that go to your gear button gear button, so the gear button is this.
Okay.
He'll ask you to click on your gear button, so you should know that which is my gear button is this. So every steps there is a icon is there, this is called the gear button. If you click on the gear button now, the steps which you applied it will show up here. So basically, if we want to see that what is this steps is all about, then when to click on this, I can say that okay, I remove top 4 rows from my system. So this is the steps which will show you. Okay, got it?
Yes.
Okay. Now just think once. I'm logically think up. So if I go to my previous step, I'm getting 4 rows here, and I remove the top 4 rows only. Just think in a broader sense. So right now, today, there is only 4 rows of junk data is coming on top. What could, like tomorrow, because the data will be updated in a real time, the data will be updated on daily basis, right? Because the data is coming, data will be uploaded, updated daily, right? Today, whatever the data, today's date is suppose first Feb. So tomorrow will be the second Feb data. So next day the third Feb data. So there will be change. Correct? Yes or no?
Yep.
Hello. Yeah. So what if tomorrow instead of the first 4 rows, I get extra 1 row which is also junk. So it means the 5 rows.
Five.
Now tell me what you did. You did hard coded saying that I want to remove from the top, I want to remove the 4 rows itself.
Mm.
That logic will work tomorrow. If the number of rows is become 5, will that logic work? Just think logically. It will work.
It will work, but only 4 rows will get deleted.
For reason, and one will be the junk,
One will be
which
junk.
is again will be junk, which is not required. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, what you will do? Again, you need to convert the power query and change it to 5. And
Yeah.
tomorrow, let's say again it came 6. Again, we come back, put 6.
Hmm.
So this solution is not the standardized solution which you are doing it here.
Okay.
Are you agree on this point?
Yeah.
So there is some manual intervention will required every time when the data is getting changed. So you need
Change.
to think of, yeah, you need to think of a business perspective that the automation which you are doing it, it should work for each and every scenario. Okay. So in this case, this step you can do that, but this is for in this case at least, this is not required. I can't do that. These steps. I can come here every time and I can put 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can put. So the steps which I applied, it is not applicable on a universal business. So I'll just delete it this step. Understand? Now the point is how we can delete this four rows. But if it's coming the fifth row, this will also auto take care. Any sixth row is coming, this is also will be automated. So I no need to do anything on that stance. So I'm just giving a rule here. So whenever you found any kind of nulls record from the top and you want to delete it, right? Normally,
Yeah.
identify a column first. Okay. On your table, identify a column and which you think or it can't be null. Never it will be null in your ever process. Okay. So if you talked about this data, right, this is a sales data. Sales means I have some product, I have some customer, they are doing some sales or they are purchasing something. So whenever any customer is purchasing or any product is getting sale, then there should be n sales order number for every order, right? I
Yeah.
don't think so. Any order will be there without any sales order number. That scenario is never
Cannot be null.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it is null, then there is a problem in your data itself. It can't be null. It's never possible. So like that, identify one column first, which never be null or can't be null. In this case, that table that column is my called the sales order number. Okay.
Yeah.
Now what we will do, I will just click on this sales order number, this column number 4 in this case. Just click on this drop down. Then there are some filters will be there. Now there are two choices here. I will explain you what is this and what is this. So my requirement is I want to remove the nulls, right? So I can just deselect the null here automatically. I will not selecting the null. I'll just deselecting the null and I will putting the OK. Okay, that's it. So it will remove the way it was there. Previously the remove top rows, but now I will removing the nulls only. But again, this solution is not standardized. What else? What if you see this underline code? What is doing? Column 4 not equals to null.
Not equal
That's
to.
what it is doing, right?
Hmm.
What else? Tomorrow, suppose any sales order number is null you are considering. I can say that it will be not null, but suppose think like the suppose any order is what happens sometimes if you remember in Amazon sometimes or any e-farmers or e-marketing site. So suppose one time suppose you are ordering something and due to their server problem and everything, no, we ordered something, but the order will be say order placed. Sometime we will not get the order ID, and sometimes the order is pending. It is not getting confirmed. The amount got deducted from our account, but the order is not confirmed. That scenario sometimes it's possible. Okay, so that one instances the order or column will be blank as well. So for a couple of seconds, that is getting captured. So what else? The order ID instead of null if the order ID is blank. So this scenario will never understand that it will consider the blank. It will consider only the nulls here. It's saying that this is not equals to null. So null and blank. I want to consider both the steps. Null and blank. Both. Then what I'll do, I just delete again. The actual solution for this is I just deleting. If you click on this column number 4, then there is an option called remove empty. Remove empty means it will consider the nulls and it will consider the blank as well at one go. And this is the good solution when you are doing this. Okay. Now click on the, sorry, remove empty. Now if you see, column 4 equals to null and column 4 not equals to null. Both condition coming. You are seeing this?
Blank. Okay,
Able to
okay.
see
That
this?
should be implemented.
Sometimes when we do joins and all, we will get null values, right? So what will happen if you use remove nulls or
That is one of the scenario. But in this case, we are not yet joining now.
mhm.
This is one table only. Right
Okay.
now it is one table. Okay. Now this is the one steps we will perform here. Got it? As of now, any questions?
So whenever when we select remove empty, so this setting will be default whenever we get data again. It will be like this and it will remove empty and null values. We don't need to set
Yeah,
again
this
and
is
again.
no, this is one time only. This is one
Okay.
time and the steps will be automatically applied. This is automation almost we can say.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next is we need to do, if you see the headings of the columns, right? It is coming column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, gradually goes on like this, right? But actual the heading is there at my first row. First row is my header. So so to convert the first row to header, I have another transformation here. So if you click on the home tab, there is an option called use first row as header. This option. So it will convert the first row to header. We can click on this, or there is another option. The same option is available on the corner of the table. If you see this corner, right? You see there is a drop down is there. If you click on that, that option also will come. Use first row as headers. Either way, you can just click. But I like this option. I follow up with this one. So you just click on that. Use the first row as header. But see what will happen if I click. Just observe the applied step here. So how many steps I have right now? Source, which is nothing but where the data is coming from the Excel file. Navigation is something like from the Excel file, the data sheet which you are connecting. Now the third step is the filter rows. Filter rows, what you did? The column number 4, which is not equals to null and not equals to blank. These are the three steps I've applied. Are you clear
Yeah.
on these three steps?
Yes.
Okay. Now the fourth step. If I click, I'm doing it using use first row as header and just carefully observe the applied step. Just clicking, I'm just clicking on this. What happened? First of all, my header went to the first row, which is very good that I require. But there are additional one step got applied. If you see the promoted header from the filter rows, promote header is just promoted the header, right? Which is good. But after that, there is an extra step which is got applied, which is called your change type. And this step you should be very careful whenever you are doing in PowerPoint. Okay, what is change type? Change type is something like based on the data, first thousand rows of data, it will just check it out and it will assign some data type based on the first thousand row. I'm repeating again, how the data type will be getting declared in the sense in the Power Query is that it will scan first thousand rows and based on that it will assign some data. Sorry, assign some data type. In this case, if you see, if you click on this data type, no, the order date is date. If you click on that, then you will get the data types of the Power Query. So there is a date, decimal number, fixed number, number, percentage, all these things. Okay, this is the area. So what is happening in the change type is that Change type is doing the type conversion of your what? Of your columns. So based on the 1000 rows. That is good or bad? Good, but sometimes it is also bad. So some instances I will show you where this change type is bad. And few steps when applying, no, like promote headers, automatically when you are doing the promote header, automatically one step will be automatically applied. That is called as change type. Whether we applied or not applied. This step is I didn't apply, but it will come through directly. But in this case, what we will do is that I don't require this step. What I will do, I will do all my transformation at one go. Then I will do my data type changes now. So right now, it is not at all required. But this step you understand what exactly this step is all about. Be careful when you are doing it. Okay. Now just close it out. I don't require this step. Okay. Now I have done source, navigation, filter rows. I did it. Then I do the promote headers. Another important thing in Power Query that you should rename the steps. What is the rename of steps is there? If you could right click, suppose to let's take you as an example. Suppose you enter to a project, okay, which is already going on, right? And they given one file to you, just like this file, and when you open your Power Query, you are seeing this kind of, you're seeing the filter rows, promote headers, something is coming on. Are you able to, will you able to understand what exactly because this which we are doing it right away, so we can understand that okay, this is the way we are doing it. But just think once, there are like 10, 20, 30 steps are there, and what they have done in the steps, will you able to understand directly? I don't think so. That is no for me. But instead of that, this is a good practice, you should follow that. Rename the steps properly. It means if you right click the filter rows and there is a rename option is there. Clearly mention what you have done on the steps. Okay. So I can say filtered null and blank from sales order. So this is the steps I did it. Full filter null and blank from the sales order. So by seeing that, you will able to understand that okay, this is the steps I have did it. Right? Makes sense here? Always this is take a good practice. Always the rename your steps properly. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Then promote headers. This is I will put promote headers just like this.
Mhm.
Okay. This is the steps. All right. So now I have done my headers. Let's see. Yes. All right. So now this is my headers. We have done it. Now let's put the region table. What are the things I have in this problem? If you see here also, if you see there is an extra steps called automatically applied. Source you understand, navigation you understand, but in this case the change type it is extra. It is getting applied automatically. That is not at all required for me. Now I just close this change type here. Here I think there is only one transformation which is required. Can you tell me what transformation it is required in this table? Just now I did it on the sales table as well. Can you just tell me? Very easy one.
Promoting headers.
Correct. Promoting headers. So the first row is my header. So I will just promote the header here. Use first row as header. See, promote header change type happened. But this time the change type which is happening, I can say I will cross check because I have only two sets of column and there is no other transformation which I will do in this table. So I am okay with the change type this time and I will see, okay, the state is ABC. ABC is string, region ABC is string. So which is both the data types the Power Query automatically selecting is good because this is okay for me. So I can go ahead with this steps at least in this case. Okay. But now I will start working the actual data model in this sales table. What I will do? Now just think. If you remember in SQL Server also, when I'm working on the sales order table, I have every information on the sales order. I have my product information. I have my the customer information. I have my sales information, which is profit, all these things inside one table itself, right? So here also the same thing is happening. If you see the order date, ship date, due date, sales order number, customer, if you see that these are customer information, right? Customer, product name, subcategories, product. Then there are some information related to the sales. So everything is clubbed inside into one table since it is coming from one sheet of the table. And this is which normal form? Can you tell me? What kind of normal form it is there? Is it normalized? This table is normalized. In the first very class, I explained you the normalization. Is this the sales table is normalized?
Normalized means
No? Yes. Any answer, please don't be silent. Hello?
it is
Yeah, normalization
normalized.
is
Yes,
like
it's remove. It's like clean, or we have some which
separate the
perform some operations.
columns like individual
Correct.
as per the
So,
requirement.
eh, correct. So everything is clubbed into one table. We need to segregate the table for different information. So basically, in my sales table, I have one product information. The product information should be separate table. And another information I have inside that the customer information, which is I need to separate out from the sales. Right?
Huh.
Those are the info that is called your normalization. So this is right now the table is on denormalization, opposite of normalization. Everything is in one table. I need to make it normalized. Okay. So what I will do now? So there are two choices here. I'll explain.
Create,
So sorry, come again.
yeah, create two more
Create.
tables.
Correct. We will create it. So how to create? Right click on the table, sales table. I have two options. One is duplicate, another is reference. I will explain you
Reflect.
what is reference and what is duplicate. So
Okay.
let's do the first click on the duplicate here. So it will create another table, sales
Oh,
2, and right click on this and click on the reference one more time. So sales number 3 is the reference table and sales
okay.
number 2 is the duplicate table. Difference. Difference is first setup difference. If you click on the sales, how many steps I applied? 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct? If you
Yeah.
duplicate, if you go to the duplicate table here, these are 1, 2, 3, 4 applied. That so it is like separate copy of the sales itself. Whereas if you go to the sales number 3, which is the reference, any steps are applied here? No.
No.
And what is the underline we saying? It is equals to sales. So it means that suppose in the sales table you done something. What you done? Let me just I will delete after this. So suppose in the subcategory name, no, you put a filter just for a sec. I said this is the subcategory filter I'm applying. So this is applied on which table? Applied on the sales table. Now if you go to the sales 2, which is the duplicate table, this step will be not applied because that is a separate copy. Now there is no link between sales and sales 2.
Sales and sales too. Uh-huh.
Whereas in the sales number 3, if you go to the subcategory, and if you see only it is showing the gainer only. So this is the reference of the sales. So whatever you do in the sales table, automatically it will get reflected on the
Sales 3.
reference table, because that is the reference of the table. Okay, and you can see one diagram view also. If you click on the view and click on the query dependency, this is very good. You click on the query dependency, and if you see the diagram, you will able to understand what is duplicate and what is reference. If you see, this is my the data from where I am getting the data. Then I have two tables. One is sales table and one regions table. And I have created another sales 2, which is another table, which is duplicate. Remember, okay? But the sales number 3 is just a reference of this, like a parent and child. So anything you are doing on the parent, it will automatically reflect in
Reflects.
the child. So this is the reference and this is the duplicate. Concept is clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that necessary to create one reference table and one duplicate, or
Depends.
depends?
Depends upon the scenario. But in this case, we don't require the reference, we require the duplicates because I want
Yes.
to create separate tables.
Yeah.
But few cases we will go with the reference. That time will come, I'll explain. But this is the difference between your reference and your duplicate. Okay,
Duplicate. Yes.
that is clear. Okay.
Yeah.
But Samir,
Mhm. Go
when we
ahead.
are seeing the data over here, the reference one
Mhm.
and the original sales one was the both are same,
Same.
right?
Both are same. Yes,
But
correct.
when
Both are
you are
same.
showing us a diagram, that figure, why it's showing us not loaded?
Which one not loaded?
Yeah, sales 3 is not loaded.
Loaded or not loaded.
Because not loaded in the sense the data will be loaded here only. The display will be happened here only. That's it. That's the reference. That's a good
Yes, sir.
point. I missed
Okay.
this part. Correct. So the data will be loaded here and it will be the not loaded here. Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
This is not loaded because I have not started anything on this one. Once I started, it will load here also. And oh, sorry. Take it in this way. Not loaded in the sense because I have only one table of data, and from that only I am creating the another table. So actually when the data will be loaded, it will loaded in the data sheet only, no Excel file. Just imagine in the Excel I have only data sheet, right? On that only that they will load the data. They don't know what is sales, what is region, what is sales, and what is sales 2 and what is sales 3. They don't know that they will load the data here only, but we have segregated from there. So when this is loaded, from there this two will get created. This is also will get created. That is what is saying the not loaded in this case. Make sense? Got the point or no? Now I'll explain one more time. It's a good point. Whoever asked this. So just think, okay? So this is my Excel file. In the Excel file, I have the sheet called data sheet, which I rename to sales. Correct? Correct, right? This part is clear. Now, any data add or any kind of deletion, they will do where? In this sheet only, right? The data sheet in the Excel file.
Mm.
Correct? So this is the data. Suppose you added something or something, then it will added or loaded into the sales table only because that is the sales table in my Power Query. And from here, we are creating some branch tables as per our requirement. That will actually not loaded. The data will be loaded into the main table only. From there, we are creating duplicate reference, whatever may be. It will just get reflected the data into inside the Power Query itself. That's why it is showing you the not loaded here. That makes sense? No? Or still doubt?
Hmm.
Can you repeat the
Got it, right?
point once again?
No, that's okay. No.
So,
So let's take
so
tomorrow in the day. Oh, go ahead.
It's not like uh,
Mhm.
like we transform the sales file, and now we are just copying it. We are creating a duplicate, so it's not loading.
No, no, just think
Okay,
once
sir.
only.
Sir. Hmm.
Let me explain. So I have a data sheet on my Excel. Today I have, let's take 1,000 rows. Okay. Tomorrow there isn't some addition happen to this sheet. So they will add in Excel file. They will not come to the Power BI and they will add the data, right? Because the source of this file is Excel, correct? So in the Excel sheet, let's take tomorrow, they added extra 100 rows. Sorry, 1,000 rows again. So total how much? Yesterday it was 100 and today is 100. So it will be 2,000. So that data will be loaded where in the Power Query? In my sales table only, right? Which is nothing but the data sheet which I renamed to sales. Now, yesterday the sales was having 1,000 rows, but today once the refresh done, it will be adding up the 1,000 rows only. So the sales contain 2,000 rows. And actually this table will be loaded. From here, we are bringing the tables. So from the sales, I am creating the customer, but actually the data is loading on where? On the first table itself. From there, we are taking just the information. So I'm taking customer, I'm taking product, all these things I'm doing it. So there is no such customer table or there is no such product table in my Excel file. I'm just creating the branches inside my Power Query. So the actual load will happen on the sales and from there it will pass on. Make sense now?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt here? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So in this case, the reference is I'm not working on this one, so I'll just create the reference. And in the sales table, I need to just remove this filter raise as well, which is not required. That is sales. So this is first table I duplicated. Another I also will duplicate because I need to create two tables actually. And I will rename the first table as my customer, and the second table I will rename is my product. Fine. Now the next thing is, like this is the last one we'll do for this class, is that in the sales table I have all the columns, but when you go to the customer table I should have only the choice of only the customer columns, right? I should not have the columns which is required for product and which is required for the sales. Should not have that, correct? I should have only the column which is required for the customer table. So how we will do? Click on the home options. There is an option called choose columns. Okay. Click on the choose columns. And from here you will get the list of columns which is required to store inside my customer. Okay. So I will just first unselect everything and I will see what are the column I will take to my customer. So I will take my customer key. I'll take my customer. I'll take my business type. I'll take my city name. Mm, yeah, that's it. These are the four column it should present in my customer team. Customer key, customer business type, and city name. Yes. Right? Same I will do for the product as well. I will go for the products and click on the choose columns and select everything. Then I will see I'll take product key, product name, subcategory name, product size, product detail, category column. Okay, these are the available information which I have in my product. All right, same I will do for the sales as well. Okay, in the sales, now tell me what are the columns I will take in the sales. Can you just tell me?
Sales
Order
order
number.
number,
Yeah, so I will take the date first.
date,
I will take the order date, the due date,
due,
ship
ship
date,
date,
Order number.
sales or
sales order
sales
number,
order number, Customer key is required.
Yes, sir.
For the
Since
which customer we
we
sold the
need to,
products, we need
yes,
that one.
Why customer key is required? Can somebody explain me?
Yeah, like the to
to
which
connect
customer
customer
the
table,
product we
to
sold.
ship that product to specific customer.
That
So
is
later on,
there is
later
all
on, so
logic, but
we can join the customer
no,
table.
Maybe as a
correct.
foreign key
Join.
for the customer table.
Okay.
This is the foreign key in my sales table. Yeah, this is the foreign key. So I just need to connect. Finally, I need to connect customer and sales, right? So that's why customer key is
Mm,
required. Okay.
okay.
Customer is not required because customer information already I have in
Mm,
my customer table. Customer, business type, city name, product key, product name, all these things I don't require. Okay. Do I need the product key required? Yes, I require
yes,
because I
yes.
need to connect to the
Mm.
product. Then I will
And
have my
quantity,
order quantity, price,
unit.
standard cost, and discount percentage. These are the columns is for my sales team. Alright. So these are the information which I can hold inside my sales table. Now few things we need to do. In the customer table, if we go now, just try to filter one customer key and you'll see the problem. And it may explain me why. In the customer, if you see the 123, I just put it. How many customer I got it? Somewhere around 27 rows for one customer with same data. Nothing is changing. So customer key is same, customer is same, business type is same, and the city name also same. Why it is happening? Can somebody explain me? And even you go to the product, and if you click on the product key, no, it will also get repeated. Why it is happening? And is it correct? No, right? Hello?
Yes, yes, sir.
This is
So
wrong,
it
right?
can be like, it can be like same customer has many orders.
How? That's fine, but one customer, the customer information will be unique, right? He can do a multiple orders, I understand. But
Huh.
the uniqueness of the customer will be unique only. Now, why I will repeat each and time the same information for the customer? Because why, just let me the filter rows here. Why it happened is because we don't have any customer dimension directly on the Excel. We derived from this two table from where? From the sales. Where we are capturing the customer can have multiple orders and product can be sold multiple times. So in the sales table, I have the customer key which is getting duplicated. Here it is there is a duplicate. But since we have derived the sales table, customer table from the sales, that's why that duplicate entries comes up. But I should have a primary key, foreign key kind of things, right? In
Yes.
the customer key
Yes.
should be unique, whereas in the sales, the customer can be duplicated. That is, sales is happening for the orders. Make sense? This is? I don't think so. This will make hard to understand because we explained every bit on the SQL, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So for that, what I need to do, I need the customer key distinct. So I will right click on the customer and I say remove duplicates. So I just want to remove the duplicate entries which I have in my customer. So that makes my customer key the primary key which I require. Okay. Same I will do, go to the product table and right click on the product key and I will say remove duplicates. Alright. This makes
Hmm.
sense. Why I'm duplicating? I'm just creating, removing the duplicate because this is a primary key and this is my foreign key on the sales table. Got it?
Yes. Sir.
Okay. Okay. Now that's it. And suppose after this, suppose you want to load this data to the Power BI. So this is my Power Query and this is my Power BI desktop. The option is click on the home. There is a close and apply. Close and apply. If you're done
Hmm.
with the transformation, I am not done, but still, if you want to load, then you need to click on the close and apply. So then only the data will be get loaded to the Power BI desktop. Okay,
So what we
and
did now is normalizing the table, right?
Just normalize you did, but so many steps are there. We just created a normalization. That's it.
Okay, so
Okay.
most
Hmm.
of the time there may be some dependencies, and if what will happen if we make mistakes in normalizing the table?
So basically, see, normalization, this will come into picture when your data source is from Excel. Because Excel has some data source, something like scattered way. Because Excel is, you know that this is a normal data entry point. So some people can enter the data all this. Suppose your data source is from a database, so just like in SQL Server or in Oracle database, right? So that time the data will be there for you. It will be like separated by the table. So we no need to bother about the normalization that time because that will be captured that in that way. But this is the rare scenario, one of the scenario where you are connecting to any file system where you
Okay,
need to define your normalization.
okay,
That you need to understand. Yeah.
yeah,
Now finally, I need to save the file because I don't want to lose the whatever I have did it, and from where I left I will start from tomorrow. So just click on the file and click on the save. Okay. So here the file extension is, there will be two extension will come, PBIX and PBI template file. Template file I will explain later, but just go with the file which is extension is PBIX, which is called the Power BI file, and put some first project or whatever you feel correctly. Just click on that first project and save the data. So the file will be get saved as PBIX file, which is called the first project. Okay. So that's it for today. And from here, tomorrow we'll continue because I have so many things we need to do because this is not yet ready. The data model, just we did it. We need to do so many steps in the data model. It's not yet ready. Okay. Make sense?
Yes. Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's stop it. And I will give this file to you. And whatever I did it, just do it that point at least by tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, we will repeat it. See.
Yeah. Just repeat that. Thank you.